Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm excited to share with you the launch of Palantir Weekly Series. I will cover on Palantir related news for the week, break them down into bite sizes for you. Instead of talking about all the news, you will just hear the news that matters, perhaps maybe top 5 news of the week, followed by my view in terms of what it means for the customer and also for Palantir. The video will be published every weekend, so do keep a lookout for that. My objective here is simple. I do own Palantir shares and keep track of the company's news closely to evaluate its change in fundamentals. If you are Palantir like me who is into this company, this will be an avenue for you to get your weekly bites, saving you the trouble of monitoring and analyzing the developments yourself. In return, I'll be very grateful you can do the following. Foremost, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Secondly, please share your comments. Feel free to disagree with my analysis as I may be wrong, and also alternate views are greatly welcome for all of us to learn together. Do note that this is an educational video. Please do not treat this as an investment or any form of advice. I may be biased in my view or may say things that are inaccurate or outdated. Always do your own due diligence. Before we go into the news of the week, this is my hot take. We heard lots of concerns on the slowdown in the government business of Palantir. So new contract announcements are definitely good news, especially we are talking about lucrative contract that's worth $1 million a month. While it's a short contract, the large ticket size does reflect the value Palantir provides and the willingness of government entities to engage its services. The first two news will be on how Palantir is progressing on its platform strategy. Firstly, you can see that Palantir is partnering with the 5th largest automaker to deploy Foundry. In case you are not familiar with Stellantis, they are formerly known as Fiat Chrysler and have 14 global car brands like Chrysler, Fiat, Jeep, Alfa Romeo, Maserati and many more under their care. Foundry will be the central operating system, not just one of the many software for the company. Imagine our own personal experience whenever we switch on the computer, we start with putting up the windows and all our tasks are done on this platform. This is how impactful Foundry will be in this enterprise context. What is the value of Foundry Stellantis? Firstly, it will break down data silos by centralizing into a central platform to have one source of truth which can then be leveraged on to generate insights and prescribe action for the company. For example, Stellantis has collected billions of connected vehicle data points, but this data can only be useful if we can make sense out of it. This is where Palantir comes in to provide insights and predict quality issues ahead of time based on the state of the vehicle inferred from the data. Foundry will also help with supply chain management, and this is a tall task given that there are so many parts required just to build a car, and it can only be delivered to customers once all parts are in place. This is something that is so crucial given today's supply constraint context that will impact the production cycle and impact profit of the company. What does this mean for Palantir? I will look beyond financials. The success of this partnership will make it a strong case for Foundry as an effective operating system that gives solid returns to customers. Many other car makers will be compelled to onboard Palantir to retain their competitive edge. This is definitely not a small partnership as we're talking about a company with more than 150 billion in revenue. Apart from the automotive operating system, Palantir is also looking to entrench itself as the OS of ESG for enterprise. Palantir will partner with Trigura, one of the world's largest physical commodity trading company, to build a platform for carbon emission calculation, reporting, and facilitate collaboration across commodity supply chains. What does it mean for Trigura? Their CEO shared that this platform was built out of their clients' demand to have visibility into life cycle emissions to prepare for upcoming regulatory reporting of emissions. The key point is the need for the platform is huge. In addition, this is not just for one company but will serve all stakeholders in the global energy and commodity supply chain. It's like what Palantir did for Skywise platform built for Airbus. Anyone who works with Airbus, be it airline operator, parts supplier, engineering companies, have to be on the border on the Palantir platform. The same context applies here, just that in a different industry. What does this mean for Palantir? Such partnership is part of the efforts to scale the business by becoming the operating system and the standard of the industry. I want to stress that we are talking about conquering an industry, not just one or multiple companies. Moving on to Europe, on the left, we start with the government business. Palantir has actually launched Europa, an upgraded version of Gotham built for intelligence and law enforcement agencies in Europe in the context of a rapidly dangerous and chaotic world we see today. The value proposition is that Palantir is a veteran in the defense sector, having more than 70 years of operating experiences, and they have leveraged all these learnings to come out with this new product. The other key feature is data privacy capability, something which is critical in the European context. Thirdly, the ability to layer video capabilities with AI models enable better decision making. I saw this example which is quite cool. You can see on screen that a drone can actually monitor the movement of hostile forces down to the detail of their physical presence on a building. So what does this mean for Palantir? We know that US government business has been well penetrated. To grow Palantir's government business further, we need to see the Europe side of the business picking up. It was great to see some momentum as shared in the Q1 2022 presentation deck. There was a £10 million deal with British Navy completed and a framework agreement in place with Germany for Gotham and Foundry with an initial order from the Bavarian police. Moving to the right, which is the commercial side of the business, we heard Alex Karp mentioning about growing the European sales force. They have appointed a new head of Palantir Europe recently. He has arrived from Salesforce having spent 6-7 years there. What Palantir needs is a great sales force now, no pun intended. Hiring these senior experienced sales guys allow Palantir to leverage on the contact and hopefully scale up business activity. In my personal opinion, Palantir has a solid full suite product now, and it's really a scaling issue that I'm watching out as a potential risk factor. A great product means nothing if it can't reach the hands of its customers nor bring shareholder value. I'll keep a close watch on the progress of European commercial and hope that it can be a growth engine on top of the fast-growing US commercial we see today. Having just touched on sales execution is a good lead up to the interview of Alex Karp with Ross Sorkin of CNBC. This is really a debatable topic. Karp mentioned that the company is used to fighting IT folks of its potential or existing customers as they do not understand the power of Palantir products. You can infer Palantir as not having done enough to market their products to achieve better sales instead of just thinking that they have the best product in town. I do share this worry a lot, but can see the management being open-minded in adopting a new approach, starting with Karp acknowledging that it's a valid criticism. Also, they try out several new stuff that we can see nowadays, like having a new YouTube channel for developers, hiring third-party YouTubers to engage the developer community, expanding its sales channel to consulting firms like Accenture, and more importantly moving towards modularizing its product, which means selling them in small parts instead of forcing clients to buy everything on the onset. I'm happy to see these concrete actions to focus more on sales. Comment below on what you think. Palantir VP Josh Harris was interviewed on CNBC. It's interesting to note that Palantir has been more active in social media as well as mainstream media nowadays. This is great as it allows retail investors like us to know more about the company. This will also address the critique that the company has been secretive for the comfort of its investors. Moving into the interview, the first question from the host was on the drop in share price and what is Palantir doing about that. Josh shared that the market action doesn't affect what they do. The focus remains on providing value to clients by reducing costs, adopting data-driven approach to drive margins. He mentioned that companies has increased emphasis on effective data tools to help combat supply chain issues, and more emphasis has been put on efficiency to ensure every dollar is well spent. He also shared that what's important is a solution that can react dynamically, which is Palantir, to the rapidly evolving operating environment. Examples are the distribution of PPE and administration of vaccines as well as solving supply chain gaps for enterprises. There are also more instances of companies using data for climate change, which we just covered in the example of the collaboration with Trigura. He ended off by saying that Palantir isn't solving the issue directly, but are helping those who are in the thick of action to do a much better job. Thanks for listening to me. Please like and subscribe to the channel. The next Palantir Weekly Series will be up next weekend. Hope to see you again.